Yes. And it's those, right? Chazan? There's a Superman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is for Bernard, Kim, and Mark, if you want to give it to them, or you want to leave it up here?
We can leave it up. And we got one for Mark also.
Yes, Mark and Bernard.
Did you get a special one for Sherry?
Give me 1 second.
I know you. I knew you would. That's why
One
I
of them's
asked.
for me. This one's for her.
Okay.
I didn't put names on everything.
That's okay. Don't
And
need
this
it.
one I'll leave for them.
Thank you.
Mark, Bernard.
Okay.
Got it.
So.
Thank you.
You are-
Don't worry about it. You know I can do my job.
You know. When it comes to I know you don't, but you just you do you.
I'll have a list for you over there.
Thank you very much.
It has the page numbers and stuff on it too.
Have a good psuke.
Yep.
So make sure that we got the correct.
All right, I'm gonna get going. I want to cut things. Should be rolled. I rolled it.
Oh, now that I,
Did something different on Thursday.
well, I did, but you probably rolled it back.
No, I
35, 20, meaning to
did it
where,
at 1 o'clock on Thursday. I brought
Yeah,
that
that's
one
what I
in
mean.
from the other room.
is it at a juncture?
Shabbat Shalom, we're going to get going this morning. A little Psuke de Zimra. Get us our calisthenics for the rest of the service, right? Ready, Jaime? Got it. We're going to begin with Birkat HaShachar on page 103. We rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan us chvi bina lehavchin ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani betzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbisha rumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin metzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasali kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael betif ara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la'ya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You may be seated. U'tneinu hayom v'chol yom l'chenu chesed harachamim b'einecha u'b'einei chol reinu v'tikmalenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. 105. Le'olam yareya yehei adam yirei shamayim b'sei tever galui u'modeh al ha'emet v'tever. No one sitting in the front row. Sitting over there. Need to get Phil back there. Ashreinu matov chelkeinu mana'im goraleinu ma'yafa yerushatenu. Ashreinu shanachnu mashkimim u'ma'arivim erev v'avoker v'yomrim pa'amayim v'chol yom. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad. Atahu ad shalom nivra ha'olam. Kadesh et shimcha makdishei shemecha v'kadesh et shimcha bi'olamecha v'yishuatcha tarim v'tagbia karnenu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh et shimcha b'harabim. On page 107, you will find, and 108, you will find passages for study. As we have been, we've been looking at 108, the various ways that we acquire Torah. And if you look at the very beginning of them, of course, is the Talmud, with study, with a listening ear, with careful use of speech, and certainly with an understanding heart. You have to have an opening to study. You have to have your heart open to different ideas, different ways of doing things, certainly. And if you look down, you see even reiterated belev tov, a good heart. So there's lots of different elements on how we can acquire Torah. All of them are necessary to truly invite and understand Torah as it is. You'll find the concluding paragraph on 110. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'le'avoteinu v'imotenu shetiten chelkenu b'toratecha v'nihi amitamidav shel Aharon hakohen ohev shalom v'rodef shalom ohev et habriot u'mekarvan laTorah. I don't think we have a minion. I don't know if those people are Jewish. They might have Talit on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, Sherry's back there. These are all messed up. They were trying to sit in the front row, so you need to watch people come in because they weren't really out. I kind of guided them, and I took the rope down just so you know, because it wasn't in the right place. We're just making sure we have a minyan. I think we do. So page 111, you'll find Kadishta Rabbanan. We rise as we recite our Kaddish for study. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei ol maya Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha, b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Al Yisrael, v'yal Rabbanan, v'yal Talmidehon, v'yal kol Talmidei Talmidehon, v'yal kol man da'otzkim b'yoraita, di v'datra, hadein v'di v'chol atar v'atar, Yehen lahon elachon shlama rabba, china v'chista v'rachamin, v'chayin arichin u'mizona revicha, u'forkana min kodam avahon v'shmaya v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim tovim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'ramav, hu b'rachamav ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. We turn over to page 112, you'll find the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai l'zamer l'shimcha l'yon hagiba bocher chastecha v'yamatecha v'alelah v'yasar v'yamad. Od yunuvim b'seva d'shenim v'rananim yiyu l'hagig ki asher Adonai tzuri v'lo avlah tabo. We turn over to page 120 for the 30th Psalm. Mizmor shir Hanukkah Tablet leDavid armim Adonai ki litani v'samachto evali. Leman yizamercha chavod v'lo yidam Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka. You'll find Mourner's Kaddish, those reciting, if you'll rise and join with me on 121. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam elomei olmaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha, b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. We rise, page 122. Baruch Shemar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch Osev Reshit, Baruch Omer v'yoseh, Baruch Ozerim Kayem, Baruch Merachem ha'aretz, Baruch Merachem ha'briot, Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov l'Reav, Baruch Adav v'kayam la'netzach, Baruch Podel Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, ha'elav rachamam ha'olam. Yachichei ha'olami, melech meshubach u'faradei ad shemo hagadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, melech mehulal batishbachot. You're welcome to be seated. We turn over to page 136. There you'll find Ashrei. Ashrei Yeshvei Veitecha U'Nilucha Salah, Ashrei Ham Shekachalo, Ashrei Ham Shalom Laham Tileh. Tehillat Adonai Yadaber Pi Vivarech Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed V'anachnu Nevarech Yamet Tabiad Olam Hallelujah Hallelujah Lili Nafshi Et Adonai Elhan B'chayai Samar Elohai Be'adi Al Tivtechu B'Videm. Adonai shomer et gerim yatam yamanai yodev v'derech v'shayim yaved yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohai ch'tzion l'davar dor Hallelujah Hallelujah Ki tov zamar Eloheinu ki na'im navati la. 138. Shabach Yerushalayim et Adonai Elohai ch'tzion ki chizah. Magid v'rav li'Yaakov, chukav v'mishpatar v'Yisrael, lo asachin l'chol goy v'mishpatim bal yida'um. Hallelujah. 139. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Adonai min hashamayim. Hallelujah. B'amramin. Vayarem karen le'amo tehila l'chol chasidav lifnei Yisrael karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shir l'Adonai, shir chadash tehila l'chol chasidim. We're on 140. Lehesor machechem bizikim inichmadechem b'chavlei varzel la'asot bahem mishpat katuv hadarhu l'chol chasidav. Hallelujah. 141. Hallelujah, 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 Bikodsho, hallelujah, hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, hallelujah, 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 Big Buratav, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kirov, good love, hallelujah, 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 Bate Gashofar, hallelujah, hallelujah, Benevel Vechinor, hallelujah, 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 Betof Umachor, hallelujah, hallelujah, Beminim Ve'ugav, hallelujah, 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 Betzil Tzalei Shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, Betzil Tzalei Teruah, Kol Haneshama Tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kol Haneshama Tehallelujah, hallelujah, Kol Haneshama Tehallelujah, hallelujah. We turn over to page 145. 145. Nishmat Kol Chai Tevarech et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu V'ruach Kol Basar Tzveret. I'm on the very bottom of 146. Nehalelcha unshabechacha unva'ercha unvarech et shem chodshecha kamor leDavid. Barchi nafshi et Adonai v'chor karava et shem kodsho. Ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha hagadol b'chvod shemecha hagibor l'nesach v'hanora v'norotecha hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram v'nisa. With that, we conclude our preliminaries for this morning, getting us going on this very bright and cheery morning, this very happy morning. Before we go into Shachrit, I think we have a Talit presentation to do we not? So we have our Bat Mitzvah, Zara Ginsburg, who is here this morning. She is going to be called to the Torah as a Bat Mitzvah, and one of the things, of course, all of our B'nai Mitzvah are so fortunate to have is to be wearing a Talit, the opportunity to show the tzitzit, which are a reminder of the mitzvot that she now takes upon herself. And so I know that she has a very beautiful talit that was apparently made in Jerusalem from an artisan. Ooh, it is gorgeous. As she pauses to say the bracha and to don her talit, to put her talit on for the first time. So hold for 2 minutes. Ready? All right. Sides, put it on your shoulders. You. Wow. Give her a kiss. She wraps herself in the mitzvot. That's how we look at it. Now, Zara, stay up here.
She's going to get her
Oh, you're going to get your stuff. Yes, definitely get your stuff. And then come on back up as you'll be helping us through some of the Shacharit service this morning into the Torah service and then forward from there. So page 147, right in the middle, you'll find the formal beginning of Shacharit as Cantor Ken leads us.
שוכן על מרום וקדוש שמו בפי שרים תתהלל דברי צדיקים תברך ולשון חסידים תדרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדוש. על כל דברי שירו ותשבחו דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחו ישתבח שמך לעוד מלכנו. ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלכתו ותשבחות אל ההודות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך מלכי העולמים יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ביעלמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחייתכו בית ישראל בגלה וזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יפרח וישתבח ויפואר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו לאלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
You are welcome to be seated. We're towards the top of 150 under the red print.
מהן ככך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא אפס ביתך גואלנו לימות המשיח ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים אלא אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל הנשמה גודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונהדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לפני כיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו, טובים מאורו שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאו עזיבם בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בהם רצון כהונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמוע, תהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, רע והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ויופנים, וחיות הקודש.
152.
אוהל אשר שבר מכל המעשים ביום השביעי, עלה וישב. תברך בושיינו אשר במעשה ידיך וימי יריהו שעשית ברוך השלום.
153.
נברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו. וכולם מקבלים על מהם ומלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ורוח ונאמר קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה. והאופני וחיות הקדוש ברש גדול, מנעשים ליומת שרפים, ליומתם משבחים ואומרים. מור חדש על ציון נטויר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצא המאורות.
154.
There she goes. Good morning. Go get him. In a minute.
154 at the bottom, you'll find the red line. Some gather their tzitzit before reciting this line. This is the point of where we take the four corners of the talit, we bring together the four tzitzit as again a reminder of the mitzvot. And today, as Zara becomes a bat mitzvah, she is entrusted with those very mitzvot as a guide for living life and for how we act in the world, how we treat one another. And these are those principles that we live by as Jews. So the bottom of page 154, leading into the Shema and V'ahavta, which Zara will be leading for us.
וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך יחדך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
155. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך ביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Page 155 in the English, we read the Haftarah together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and on your gates. We continue silently to the middle of the page, 156. Middle of 156, you'll find the biblical instruction to wear the tzitzit, reminder of the mitzvot. We join together at Vayomer paragraph.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit. Hakanfevig dehem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit. Hakanaf petil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit uritam oto uzechartem mikol mitzvot Adonai v'yasitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei nechem asher atem zonim achareihem למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem. Ledor vador, hu kayam ushmo kayam, v'chison achol malchuto. B'emrato lawan kayam. Yotzreinu tzishwoteinu b'matzilenu mi'elam shemecha el Elohim zulatecha. Tehilo le'elayom baruch u'mevorach Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael elechanu shira ושמחה רבה ואמרו עולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות וספר שיר החדשה שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאו שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני כל ישראל.
We begin the Amidah together, page 159 on the left side of the right-sided page of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs, 159.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah v'Elohei Rivka v'Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Etovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot Umevii Goel Ibnei Bneihem Leman Shemo B'Yava Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magid Avraham ufoked Sarah Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye metim atah rav lehoshia Mashiv harua umorid hagashem Mechalkel chayim bechesed Somech noflim v'rofei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha Ba'al gevurot Umido melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot metim Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hametim. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר. אז בכל רעש גדול עדי וחזק משמיעים הכל מתנסים ליום הצרפים ליומתם ברוך יאמרו ויהננו tirena malchutecho kadavar hamur b'shirei uzechor. Al-Yedei David, Mashiach Tzidkecho, Yimeloch Adonai Leolam. Ledor v'ador nagid godlecha, Ulenetzach netzachim kiddush lecha nagdish v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu le'amush le'alam v'aved ki hamelech gadol v'kadosh atah Baruch atah Adonai.
When you're through, you're welcome to be seated, but as always, please take your time.
It's not even a question.
The Amidah always concludes with the bracha for shalom, for peace, and you'll find on the bottom of page 166, the very end of the silent part of the Amidah, you'll find the words Oseh Shalom, as Zara leads us, again expressing our highest hopes that we can bring peace, shalom, to our homes, to ourselves, to our communities, and to the world. 166.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'Yakol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'Yakol Yisrael.
V'imru. Amen. We continue with Kaddish Shalem on page 167.
יתגדל ויתגדל שמי רבה, וילמד יברח ידותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומייכון וחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן הקריב ימרו. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יפרח וישתבח ויפואר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותעלש מדקודשה. בריחו לילה מן כל בחטא ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמה ויאמרו. יתקבל תפילות ולמות ובכל ישראל הקודם אבהון ושמיה ויאמרו. יש לנו רבה ושמיה וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו. עושה שלום מרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויאמרו.
With that, we conclude our Shacharit, our morning service this morning. Page 168, you will find Seder Hotza'at HaTorah, our service for taking out and studying the Torah, the central part of our Shabbat worship each Shabbat. Page 168 will remind you, if you're coming up for an honor, that you need to have your head covering on, women or men. And certainly I know Phil is in the back to help coordinate all of those things, so you'll get a cue, or if you're not sure, you'll see in our flyer where the honors are. But 168, as Zara continues to help us out here on the Bima with Seder Hotza'at HaTorah, our service for taking out and studying the Torah, we rise. 168.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך המלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך ועולם ועת. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, avarachamim, etiva v'rtzonecha v'etzion, tivenei chamot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chamot Yerushalayim, ki v'echad levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Vayehi binso Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai ve'afutzo yavecha ve'yanusu misonecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzei Torah ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael Adonai, as we stand before the Aron
HaKodesh on this Shabbat of celebration for the Ginsburg family and for all of us as we anticipate the arrival of Thanksgiving, our opportunity in American life to give thanks for the gifts that we enjoy. We recognize the Torah holds within it the mitzvot that we help fulfill during the short span of our human lives. We recognize that the effects of those mitzvot last forever. Honoring parents, doing deeds of loving kindness, attending worship services and study groups on a regular basis, welcoming guests, visiting the sick, rejoicing in celebrations of life, comforting the bereaved, probing the meaning of prayer, and making peace between one human being and another. And the study of Torah underlies all of them. Together we recite the bracha, which reminds us that it is a mitzvah to make the study of Torah an ongoing part of our daily lives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Amen. We continue, page 170, the bottom paragraph, Be'ana Rachetz.
Be'ana Rachetz Velishmei Kadisha Yakira Anamar Tushbechan Be'ana Rachetz Be'ana Rachetz Velishmei Kadisha Yakira Anamar Tushbechan Yehi Ra'ava Kadamach Tiftach libi b'oiraita v'tashlim mishalin b'delibi v'libadehu l'amach Yisrael l'tav l'chayin v'lishlam. Amen.
V'arav chayim v'kayamim al avotenu v'aleinu v'al bainenu v'al dorotenu. God's teachings are precious and everlasting. The Torah is God's eternal gift passed down from our ancestors to us, from grandparents to parents, from parents to child, throughout the generations of the Jewish people. Today, Zara accepts the role that she has as a link in the chain of the generations as the Sefer Torah is placed in her arms, and we hope the words of the Torah are placed in her hearts. You'll find page 171, Shema Echad Gadlu. We repeat after each of the first two lines as Zara leads us.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu l'Adonai iti unerom ema shemo yachdav lecha Adonai ha'gedola v'ha'gevora v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'ha'od ki chov ha'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chov ha'shamayim u'va'aretz Adonai hamamlacha והמתנשא לכל ראש רוממו, רוממו. אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו, לאדום רגליו קדוש הוא, רוממו, רוממו. אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו, להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
Torah is on the shulchan. You may be seated. Study a little bit of Torah for a moment. And as we study the Torah according to the triennial cycle, which means we read 1/3 of the full Torah reading each week. And what's nice is the process allows us to take time to study in depth a portion of the Torah we might easily have skipped over in favor of something that's more well-known or more exciting, perhaps. So it keeps us intellectually honest, if you will, and it reminds us that all of Torah has something to share to us. And this is one of those sections for sure that I think lives up to that. So in the Torah reading for this Shabbat in Vayishlach, Zara well knows, we've talked about this, we continue the life story of our patriarch Jacob, who after 20 years of being away from his family and land is returning home. Now eventually he reconciles with his brother Esau, and hereafter the text shifts its attention to the line of Esau. So the last third of the portion which we read today is certainly one we might, on the surface, choose to skip over. It's primarily a long listing of children of Esau, his sons, daughters, the kings, and the tribal chieftains that will rule over Edom, the nation that's made up of the descendants of Esau. So with the help of Midrash, however, with the help of our rabbinic commentary, we find that this long ancestral list of names actually has something to say to us. So in chapter 36, and you're welcome to open it up in your Chumash if you like, it's on page 217, thereabouts. That's where we'll begin, somewhere in there, but 217. You'll find chapter 36, verse 9. We're told that Esau, the father of the Edomites, again, brother to Jacob, had a wife named Adah, who gave birth to a son, Eliphaz. And in verse 11 to 12, we read, and I'll read it for you. Vayihiyu b'nei Eliphaz, Teman, Omar, Tzipho, V'gatam, Ukanaz. That's a mouthful. Basically reads, and the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Tzipho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And it continues, V'timna haita pilegesh Eliphaz ben Esav, v'teled Eliphaz et Amalek. And Timna was a concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. Okay, simple enough. Seems kind of exciting, doesn't it? Is that not the most exciting narrative I've ever read to you? Joe's going, yes, I'm falling asleep in the pew, right? I wouldn't blame you. It's not very exciting because it's, a list of names. But we know that actual genealogical lists can be fun. Anybody who likes genealogy? Anybody do Ancestry.com, all that stuff out there? Anybody? Nobody? Hava, good. Okay, yeah. So you can relate to this stuff because it can be fun, especially if you're trying to decide, for instance, what to name a baby. You do this, I'm not you personally, but you're around a lot of parents in NICUs, right? They have to figure out what to call their child, right? If you want some creative names, I just gave you a bunch, right? Teman, Omar, Tzvo, Gatam, and Knaz. I guarantee those are not the top 5 of the baby list in America today. So, kind of interesting. Now, if you look at the text, what do you notice? Well, for those of us really attuned to the names in the text, we might immediately pick up the name, the last name that I uttered. Did you hear it? It was Amalek. So what do we know about Amalek? Amalek, of course, is the name which represents the group of people who attacked the weak and the innocent of the Israelites as they left Egypt. The name would go on in Jewish history to represent any evil person or group who sought to destroy Israel. So we're introduced for the very first time to this name, Amalek, which we will see later. The people of Amalek attack the weak and the innocent of the Israelites as we're leaving Egypt generations later, beyond the text that we're reading today. So that, in and of itself, is kind of interesting. But what else do we notice from the text? First, the sons of Eliphaz are listed, but no mention of Eliphaz's wife. Their mother is made. It's not there, actually. We might argue that this isn't unusual, because we know sometimes women are left out of the text and left out of genealogical lists. Certainly the name of a wife or a mother of a generation is often left unstated. So we see who's not listed, but then we look and see who is listed, and we see a curious name. If you notice, I read the name Timna, right? And Timna was a concubine to Eliphaz. According to the text, Timna is not a wife, but a pilegesh, a concubine or a maidservant. Yes, back then you could have more than one wife, and you could also have concubines and maidservants giving you children, right? The rabbis of the Talmud ask a very simple question: why this concubine, this simple Timna, this name, was included in the list? Why is she there? The wife wasn't given the kavod, the honor of being listed. Here we have this simple concubines listed in our text. So the rabbis, of course, don't like to ask a question without trying to answer it for themselves, and they answer it with a wonderful story, which of course is their custom to do so. So here's the story. Timna was a royal princess. So she wasn't this lowly concubine. She was actually a royal princess whose brother Lotan was a chief of a Horite tribe, a different tribe, native to the region. So she's this princess who was, a sister to this chief of this big tribe. And in fact, the rabbis suggest that Timna herself might have been an aloof, a chief, or a noblewoman. So it wasn't just the brother, but she herself was considered a chief or a noblewoman in the tribe. And lo and behold, she wished to convert. That is, she wanted to be a part of the followers of Abraham. In essence, according to her story through the rabbis, she wanted to be one of our first Jews by choice. She asked to be a part of the house of Esau, Jacob's brother, but she did not see herself worthy of marrying Eliphaz, marrying one of his children. Instead, she declared that she'd rather be a servant among the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as a member of the house of Esau than a rich princess living among some other nation. How glorious that is, right? I'd rather live with you as a concubine than as a princess with someone else. Okay, that may be a little self-aggrandizing, a little ethnocentric of us as Israelites through the eyes of the rabbis. But it is a great story, and from the point of view of the rabbis, who are always eager to tell a tale of a righteous person who found meaning and wisdom in Judaism, it can speak to us. If we stop right here, Timna would be recognized as just such a person who chose to become part of the Jewish people, who's seen in a positive light for that reason, and she was willing to give up much for it. And if you're familiar with other characters in our Torah, we could equate Timna with Ruth. Ruth did that. She chose to do that herself as well. But I'm going to share with you a darker side of the story. According to the Midrash, to the rabbi's commentary, desiring to join the faith of Abraham and his ancestors, Timna actually approached Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on the matter. Forget that they weren't no longer alive. This is a story, right? And all three patriarchs rejected her outright without finding out her story, without letting her speak from her heart and show her commitment to the faith. And because they blew her off and treated her poorly, Timna instead becomes the maidservant of Esau's son, who would ultimately give birth to none other than Amalek, that very bad character. Again, Amalek was the one who would persecute Israel in the future, be responsible for the deaths of many innocent Israelites along the way. And it's Amalek who, according to tradition, would be the ancestors of the evil Haman. Where do we have Haman? Right, in Purim, right? So here comes this Amalek, and it's all the way through our history, and it starts with this act that had to do with Timna. With the Midrash in mind, we can see now why Timna's name would be specifically mentioned in our text. She was a righteous woman, according to the Midrash, who deserved honor and respect, was treated poorly, and through no fault of her own actually became associated with one of the worst enemies of the Jewish people. So we study the text, again, all of this from a simple listing of names. So again, those of you who are into genealogy, you never know what you might find out in your history. Keep in mind the story of Timna. Consider the characters and the actions of her as told by the rabbis. I think they provide for us a wonderful role model of a strong and righteous woman, according to the rabbi's view, and gives us food for thought on how we are to treat others with respect and with honor, especially when they come to join our community, to be in our family, to be as a part of whoever we are in our circles. So keep that in mind and keep those thoughts in mind. We're going to begin our first reading, actually, prior to this genealogy, with a sad loss. This is the death of Isaac. And just as Isaac came together with his brother Ishmael to bury their father Abraham, we're going to see Jacob and Esau put aside their differences, at least for the moment, and join together to bury their father Isaac. It is, again, a wonderful model for us whenever we have family dynamics and we know that we need to pull together as a family to respond to the needs of our family. So page 215, verse 27, that's where you'll find, if you'll take a step back from where we just were, you'll find the beginning of our Torah reading as we study this interesting section of text.
Yazor v'yogim v'oshialo simbo v'nomar amen akol govu godel Eloheinu nuvo l'Torah Ya'amod Yoshua ben Ruvain haKohen v'Rachel Ta'amod Yochid bar Abraham haKohen
Baruch Shematan Torah L'Amo Yisrael
B'Kedushato
Ve'atem hadbekim b'Adonai Elohechem Chayim kolchem hayom
Ve'atem hadbekim b'Adonai Elohim Chayim kolchem hayom.
For the Kohen Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Jason and Vicki Adelstein and their sons. The Torah reader for this Aliyah is Cantor Ken Cohen. And as Rabbi Cohen said, the reading for this Aliyah may be found page 215, beginning verse 27.
Baruch et Adonai Amvarach. Baruch Adonai Amvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Vayavo Yaakov Yitzchak Aviv mimerei Kriyat Arba U'Chevron asher Gasham Abraham v'Yitzchak Vayihu Yemei Yitzchak Shana U'Shmonim Shana Vayigava Yitzchak Vayamad Vayasaf El Amav Zaken U'Shva Yamim Vayikberu Oto Esav Yaakov Banav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Yachamod Yoshua ben Ruvain HaKohen v'Rachel Levi.
After reconciling with Jacob, Esau now avoids any further conflict with his brother by moving his family and property away to the hill country, not of here, but of Seir. One commentator suggests this was a symbol of Esau's true feelings toward his brother. He could not let his anger and resentment go. we'll have more about Esau in Zara's Devar Torah later on, and people of Edom, as she will point out to us. So I'm going to take your job. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Amos, Koresh, Michael, Ben Moshe, Zev, Levi, Sosha, Hayat, Tzepabat, Eliur, Berva, Sarah,
For the Levi Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Kevin and Lisa Epstein. The reading for this Aliyah may be found page 216, chapter 36, verse 1, first line, page 216. The Torah reader is Cantor Cohen.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'yele toldot Esav hu edom Esav lakach et nasav benot Canaan et Ada batelon hachiti v'et oholivama bat Anab bat Sivon hachivi V'yet basmat bat Yishmael achot nevayot v'teled Ada le'asav et Eliphaz uvasmat yalda et Reuel ve'oholivama yalda et Yeush v'yet Yalam v'yet Korach Hele b'nei Esav asher yuldu lo b'eretz Canaan. Vayikach Esav et nasav v'yet banav v'yet benotav v'yet kol nafshot beito v'yet miknehu v'yet behemto v'yet kol kinyano asher achash b'eretz Canaan v'yelech el eretz mipnei Yaakov achiv ki haya rechusham rav mishevet yachdav v'lo yachla eretz migurehem leseit otam mipnei miknehem v'yeshev Esav behar Seir Esav hu Edom.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chaye Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yeshua.
Ya'amod Enoch ben Yohanan v'Miriam Shlishi.
In this third Aliyah, we now begin an accounting of the generations of Esau, and keep in mind the story of Timna as we move through these names of the generations.
For the third Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Dr. Evan Lieberman. The reading for the third Aliyah may be found page 217, beginning verse 9. First line, page 217. The Torah reader is Cantor Cohen.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. V'yelet toldot Esav avi Edom bihar Seir el shmot b'nei Esav Eliphaz ben Ada eshet Esav Reuel ben Basemat eshet Esav v'yihu b'nei Eliphaz Teman Omar Tzefo v'gatam uknaz v'timna hayta pilegesh le'Eliphaz ben Esav v'tel Eliphaz et Amalek, Ele b'nei Ada Esher Esav, V'ele b'nei Yisrael Nachat v'Zerach Shama u'Mizah, Ele hayu b'nei Basmat Esher Esav, V'ele hayu B'nei Ohel v'Ilemav Adana bat Tzivon Esher Esav, V'Teled Esav et Yehush v'et Yalam v'et Korach.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkoch.
Ya'amod David ben Shmuel Revi'i.
You'll find a continuation again of the genealogy of Esau's descendants in the next Aliyah.
For the fourth Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors David Kimmelman. The reading for the fourth Aliyah may be found page 217, beginning verse 15. The Torah reader is Cantor Cohen.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Ne'em Barach L'Olam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach L'Olam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Hey, Elufei b'nei Esav b'nei Eliphaz b'chor Esav, Aluf Timan, Aluf Omar, Aluf Tzefo, Aluf Kenan, Aluf Korach, Aluf Gatam, Aluf Amalek. Ele Alufei Eliphaz b'Eretz Edom, Ele b'nei Ada v'Ele B'nei Reuel, b'nei Esav, Aluf Nachat, Aluf Serach, Aluf Shama, Aluf Mizah. Ele Alufei Reuel b'Eretz Edom, Ele b'nei Basmat Esher Esav, Ele B'nei Ohel v'Ama Esher Esav, Aluf Yahush, Aluf Yalam, Aluf Korach. Ele Alufei Ohel v'Ama v'Avat Ana Esher Esav, Ele b'nei Esav, Ve'ele Alufeihem hu Edom.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshkoch. We now pause for our Misha Berach for Cholim, a prayer for those who are ill. Misha Berach Avotenu Vimotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachav Leahu Yivarech V'Yirapeh Kol HaCholim. Aryi ben Shmuel, Aviva Rachel bat Avraham Vatova, Bela bat Surah, bat Yalea bat Esther, Bela bat Malka, Chaim Shmuel ben Leah Yocheved, Chana bat Yehuda, Daniel ben Sarah, Fega Riva bat Basha, Feivel ben Rachel, Friedel bat Moshe, Gedalia ben Moshe Ve'adina, Hadassah bat Realeah, Hinda bat Chava, Leah bat Yehudit, Malka bat Zev, Masha bat Zisamarel, Moshe ben Miriam, Nechama Sarah bat David, Nechama bat Yaakov, Perel bat Tama, Hesimendel bat Binyamin Verachel, Pinchas Velvel ben Leah, Rachel bat Devorah, Rachel bat Yehudit Chaya, Raphael ben Wolf, Rachel Henya bat Noah Vega, Shendel bat Golda, Shimon ben Chana, Shoshana bat Pearl, Tova bat Sarah, Tzipporah bat Sarah, Yechezkel ben Sarah, Yehudit Golda bat Elka, Yitzchak David ben Esther Chaya, Yoel ben Yosef, Yosef ben Meir, Yosef ben Abraham Vasara, Zivia Miriam bat Abigail Batcha, Barbara Arno, Cara Rosalind Argo, Carol Heil, Daniela Valdez Vasquez, Eddie Halfant, Eileen Marin, Elaine Munoz, Elna King, Gary Rosenthal, George Busey, Jill Testa, Kimberly Lang, Lindsay Argo, Maria Beck, Marion Braun, Mark Hermelin, Margot Adams, Mary Young, Marlene Austischer, Michael Hardy, Myrna Always, Raul Servin, Rosario Vasquez, Sarah Ibarra, Sharon Abelo, Sharon Hermelin, and Sharon Martinez, and any names we recite aloud or within our hearts at this moment. HaKadoshim alei rachamim aleihem lahachazikam l'rapotam v'yishlach lehem mehera refuah shlema l'choverhem v'gidehem b'tel shar chalei Yisrael refuat hanefesh refuat haguf and amar amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, grant the blessing of healing and health to all whose names we recited aloud or within our hearts at this time. May God be with them and with those who care for them. May the Holy One strengthen them, bring them healing of body and soul, together with all others who are ill, whether in the hospital or at home. And together we say, Amen.
Tamot Shulamed Bat Sarah Rachel Amishi.
For the Fifth Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Jessica Halfant. The reading for the Fifth Aliyah may be found page 218, beginning verse 20. The Torah reader is Cantor Cohen.
Baruch Adonai Hamra. Baruch Adonai Hamra Olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notin HaTorah.
Amen. Hey, Lebanese say here hachori yoshvei haaretz lotan v'shova v'tzivon v'yana v'dishon v'yetzer v'dishan hele alufei hachori b'nei seir b'yeretz Edom v'yiyu v'nei lotan chori v'heman V'achot lotan timena v'yeile b'nei shofar alavan u'manachat v'eval shefo v'onam v'yeile b'nei tzivon v'yaya v'yana hu'ana Hashem atzah et hayemim ba'midbar Biroto et hachamorim Letzivon aviv V'yeile b'nei anan Dishon v'yohli v'ama betana V'yeile b'nei Dishan Chemdan v'yeshban V'yitran uchra Eile b'nei Eitzer Bilhan v'za'avan v'akan Elevnei dishan uz v'yaran Elfei achori Aluf lotan, aluf shovel Aluf tzivon, aluf anan Aluf dishon Aluf eitzer, aluf dishan El alufei hachori Le alufei ham Be'eretz seir
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'toheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yashkoach.
Yamdu Tzvi ben Gedalia v'Berti v'Yadina bar Abram v'Ruth Shishi.
So the Sixth Aliyah includes a listing of the 8 kings who would rule the future kingdom of Esau, The medieval commentator Rashi points out that similarly the house of Jacob, that is the Israelites, right? So we've been looking at the kingdom of Esau, but here's the other brother, the house of Jacob, which becomes us, the Israelites, would also be ruled by 8 kings. The kings of Esau way predate our kingships, but these are kings we are familiar with: King Saul, King David, King Solomon, who we know would be the builder of the temple in Jerusalem. So you'll keep this in mind as you see these names of the kings of Edom.
For the Sixth Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Harvey and Deanna Ginsburg, grandparents of the Bat Mitzvah. The reading for the Sixth Aliyah may be found page 219, verse 31, first line, page 219. The Torah reader is Rabbi Cohen.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher B'Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'ele hamlachim asher malchu be'eretz Edom lifnei malach melech livnei Yisrael vayimloch be'Edom Bela ben Be'or v'shem iro din hava vayamot bala vayimloch tachtav Yovav ben Zerach mibotzra vayamot Yovav vayimloch tachtav Chusham me'eretz hatemani vayamot Chusham vayimloch tachtav Hadar ben Bedad Amakek et Midian bistei Moav v'shem iro avit vayamot Hadad vayimloch tachtav Samla memasreka vayamot Samla vayimloch tachtav Shaul merchovot hanahar vayamot Shaul vayimloch tachtav Baal Hanan ben Achbor vayamot Baal Hanan ben Achbor vayimloch tachtav Hadar v'shem iro Pa'u v'shem ishto mehat tav el bat matreid bat mezah.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet V'hayei olam natan betoheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. All good things. All good things.
Your granddaughter.
Yamdu Yezeko Baruch ben Tzvi V'Dina V'Yedevora bar Abraham v'Sarah V'Zion Yitzhak ben Yezeko Baruch U'Devora Shavi'i.
A lot of names. For the seventh Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Brett Heather and Zane Ginsburg, parents and brother of the Bat Mitzvah. The reading for the seventh Aliyah may be found page 220, beginning verse 40. The Torah reader will be Rabbi Cohen.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamiborah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Ve'ele shemot alufei Esav Lemishpachotam Limkomotam Bismotam Aluf Timna Aluf Alva Aluf Dietet Aluf Oholivama Aluf Ella Aluf Pinon Aluf Kenaz Aluf Teman Aluf Mitzar Aluf Magdiel Aluf Iram Ele Aluf Adol Mishvotam Ba Eretz Achuzatam Hi Hu Esav Avi Edom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We rise for Chatzi Kaddish, signaling the completion of our formal study of our parasha.
יזכדה ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברי אחדותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל. פגלה, פגלה, ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיא. יתברך וישתבח, ויפואר וישומע ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה לילה במקום מחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ויאמרו.
You are welcome to be seated. We now formally call Zara to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. Ta'amod, ta'amod, abachura bat mitzvah, tzipora shir bat Yechezkel baruch udvora hamaftir, chazak chazak v'nid chazek.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Ve'ele shemot aluf esav lemishpachotam limkomotam bishmotam aluf timna aluf alva aluf yetet aluf oholivama aluf ella aluf pinon aluf kenaz aluf teman aluf mivtsar aluf magdiel aluf iram Ele alufei Edom lemoshvotam be'eretz achuzatam hu esav avi Edom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua. We rise for the lifting and tying of the sacred Torah.
And to lift and tie the Sefer Torah this morning, the congregation honors Joe and Jessica Hernandez and Ryan and Hava Rollo.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. Everyone, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la. יאללה לילה 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 וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה לילה יאללה לילה 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 Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much to those of you that are here, as well as those of you that are watching at home, for celebrating this very special day with me. I'm so happy you're joining us. I would also like to thank you all very much for helping me with my Bat Mitzvah project, which is helping to provide water, the one thing no one can ever live without, to our neighbors in need here in San Antonio, as well as to our brothers and sisters in Israel through the Jewish National Fund Water Task Force. Thank you, Rabbi Cohen, Cantor Cohen, and Jeff Cohen for helping me get ready for today. And lastly, to Mom, Dad, and my brother Zane, I love you and I am thankful for all your love and support always. The Haftarah this week comes from the prophet Obadiah. Lucky for me, this book is the very shortest in the entire Tanakh. Although it is the shortest book, it comes with a very important message for humanity. From the story's timeline, it seems Obadiah lived before the fall of the first temple. The story of Obadiah, however, actually starts at the beginning of the Jewish people. Remember, the father of the Jewish people is Jacob, better known as Israel. So let's go backwards before we go forward. First, there were Abraham and Sarah, whose son Isaac married Rebekah, who gave birth to twins named Jacob and Esau. Esau was the firstborn and had more rights than Jacob. At that time, the firstborn son would receive the right of inheritance and leadership of the family from his father, and would be overall better off. As a sibling, I can imagine this made Jacob jealous and angry. However, it was his mother, Rebekah, who created a ruse to trick Isaac into thinking Jacob was actually Esau. As a result, Jacob was able to take the birthright away from his brother, which caused them to have a rift between them for a very long time. Jacob tried to make amends with his brother and do the right thing many years later, but since the trust had been broken, they would never get fully close or fully reconcile. In fact, two distinctly different tribes that fought against each other came from the broken relationship of the brothers. Jacob and Esau lived in completely different regions and lived completely different lives. They both even changed their names. Jacob became Israel after he fought an angel. Israel means one who wrestles with God, and from Israel, we as Jews all descended. Esau became Edom. The people of Edom were a different tribe than the Israelites and wanted what they had. When the Babylonians destroyed the first temple, there was chaos and destruction everywhere. The Jewish people were weakened, and the tribe of Edom took full advantage of this and started killing the Jews. They wanted to be the strongest tribe in the area. Although this fighting made both tribes weaker, not stronger, and a lot of people died, God sent them a message of wanting all nations to come together and live in unity. Unfortunately, this story is still relevant today. Everywhere, every day, there's one group that is trying to win over and destroy another group. In the Middle East, radical tribes are fighting for power in Afghanistan. In Israel, our brothers and sisters are under a constant threat. In the United States, we have two political parties that are constantly fighting. We have gun violence at record highs. We have racism that seems to be getting worse. In our own city, there were several acts of anti-Semitism last month when a terrible group held anti-Semitic signs near the JCC and handed out hateful pamphlets. In downtown Austin, this group demonstrated wearing t-shirts with swastikas on them, right here in our own backyard. The words of Obadiah remind us of the story of Jacob and Esau and of their descendants who continued to fight against each other and therefore never fully thrived. God sent them a message of wanting all nations to come together in unity. Jacob and Esau never did that thousands of years ago for humanity. Therefore, the tribes of Israel and Edom never did that either. After thousands of years, we have yet to reconcile and come together as a nation for humanity and for our planet. What if we did? What could the world look like if we all put caring and kindness for each other first? I have hope that we will listen finally and come together as all nations to heal this planet and all humanity. You will find the Haftarah from Obadiah with this important message on page 222 in your Chumash. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe abdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nbiei ha'emet v'tzedek. Hazon Obadiah, Ko amar Adonai Elohim, lehedom shmua shamanu, me'et Adonai, betzir bagoyim shulach, kumu v'nakuma, alei ala milchama, hine katan, netaticha bagoyim, bazui ata me'od, zedon libcha, hi shiecha, Shochni v'hagve sala merom shivto Omer belibo mi yordeni aretz Im tagbiya ka nesher Ve'im bein kochavim sim kinecha Mishamaricha ne'um Adonai Im ganavim ba'alecha Im shodadei laila Echni meta halo yignevu dayam Im botzrim ba'ulach halo yashiru olelo Ech nefeshu esav nivu matpun av Adhavul shilchucha kolan sheve ritecha Hishyucha yachlu lechan shlesomecha Lachmecha yasimu mazor tatecha Ein tevuna bo Halo bayom hahu Ne'um Adonai V'chavati chachamim Me'edom Utvuna meharesav V'chatu giborecha Teiman Le'ma'an yi karetish Meharesav Mikatel Mechamas achicha Yaakov techata B'shabani shrata Leolam Beyom amedecha Mi neged Beyom shevot Sarim chelo Benachrim ba'u She'arav Ba'al Yerushalayim Yadu goral Gam ata kechad Mechem Ve'al tiri beyom achicha Beyom nachro Ve'al tizmach Livnei Yehuda Beyom abdam Ve'al tagdel Picha beyom sarah Al tavo v'sharami Beyom aidam Al tere gam ata Bera'ato Beyom eido Ve'al tishlachnach V'chelo beyom eido Ve'al ta'amod Al haperek Lechachrit et pelitav Ve'al tasker Seridav beyom sarah Kikaro beyom Adonai Al kal hagoyim Ka'asher asita Ye'aselach Gemucha ישוב בראשך, כי כאשר שתיתם על הר קודשי, ישתו כל הגויים תמיד ושתו ולו, והיו כלא היו, ובהר ציון תהיה ופלטה, והיה קודש, וירשו בית יעקב את מורשתם, והיה בית יעקב אש, ובית יוסף להבה, ובית עשיו לקש, ודקו בהם בחלום, ולא יהיה שרי לבית עשיו, כי אדוני דיבר. וירשו הנגב את הר עשיו, והשפלה את פלישתים, וירשו את שדה אפרים, ואת שדה שומרון, ובנימין את הגלעד, וגלות החזה לבני ישראל, אשר כנענים עד צרפת, וגלות ירושלים אשר בספרד, ירשו את ערי הנגב, ועלו מושעים בהר ציון, לשפוט את הר עשיו, והייתה לאדוני המלוכה.
You'll find the brachot following the Haftarah, page 175 in your Siddur, 175.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, sadik bechol hadorot, ha'el hane'eman ha'omer v'yoseh, ha'medaber u'mekayim shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek, ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha, v'davar echad midvarecha chor lo yashuv reikam, ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hane'eman b'chol devarav, rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu, v'lalu ad nefesh toshia b'mhera v'yameinu, baruch atah Adonai, mesameach Tzion b'vaneha, samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avadecha, malchut beit David mishichecha, b'mhera yavo v'yagel libenu, al kiso lo yeshev zar, ולא ינחלו לו אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכמננו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן דוד, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים, ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. הכל. אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני. מקדש השבת. Throw it gently. Amen. Mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, 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 uvechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, uvechol Yisrael.
You are welcome to be seated. You stay here, don't go anywhere. We're going to call you on up. As we've thrown some sweetness your way, I know your parents at this special moment in your life have some words to share with you, some reflections and some words as they watch. And I know we've been behind masks, but I can see the beaming faces from the front row over here. Your parents, I know, is certainly proud of you, Zara. So let's have them have an opportunity to share some words with you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all so much for being here with us today, both in person and virtually, from Houston, Texas, Canada, and all the way to Prague. We love you, and we're so happy that you're with us to celebrate Zara today. Zara, we are so proud of you today. You've worked so hard preparing for this, and you did an incredible job. The truth is that most endeavors that you undertake, you appear to do with such ease. You are brilliant, hardworking, and have always been very self-motivated. The truth is that preparing for this bat mitzvah was challenging, though, wasn't it? The process takes a lot of training and support in the best of times. For you, you had to do this in COVID times, with separation from your community for a year and a half, leading up to this day. For you, you also had the challenge of completing the last leg with a completely new rabbi, new cantor, and new educational director. All amazing and helpful, and there to help you and us get to the finish line. But still all new to you, and not the clergy with the familial connection that we did have for so long. You had a lot of change right at the end, right at the hardest part, and change is very hard. But still, Zara, like I knew you could and hoped and prayed really hard that you would, you opened your heart and you pushed forward. And what you have achieved by doing that is something that I hope you are so proud of, and I pray that you will always remember. I know I will always remember because you showed me a lesson too. Change is hard, but as our friend Hava says, we can do hard things. You and our entire family have learned with you that when something is hard, you do it anyways. You don't give up. You kept moving forward. Zara, you opened your heart and you accepted the love and support of those around you. That included us, your community, and your new friends, Rabbi Cohen and Cantor Cohen. My prayer for you today and moving forward in your life as a capable and kind Jewish woman is to always remember how strong and capable that you are. To always remember that if you get overwhelmed, keep putting one foot in front of the other, just like you did for today. And most importantly, Zara, please remember you're surrounded by people that love you and a robust community that's always there to lend a hand if you let them and you open your heart, just like you did to achieve this incredible milestone today. This is your birthright, and you went after it. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Good job.
Mine's tiny. I can read it. I can read it. Zara, when I started thinking about what I would say to you today, I thought maybe I would say something about how I hope you never lose your fierce independence and strong sense of empowerment. But I've known you long enough to know that those strengths are baked deep into you, and I need not worry about that. I know you know that when you stand on your own 2 feet, with your head held high, you can see exactly where you're going and what you need to face in order to get there. This process challenged you, your independence and your sense of empowerment, though. There were lots of tears, doubts, and fear. Then a breakthrough. I remember one night, like many this fall, when begging and pleading with you to practice your Haftarah led to anger and tears and you stomping into the bathroom and locking the door behind you. But on that night, your mom took your binder, stood outside the bathroom door, and started singing it to you. Then she asked me to join. I reluctantly did. After 3 or so runs through, the door slowly, quietly, gently opened, and you came out, and then you sang with us. Then you sang it with just your mom, and then by yourself. I can't say there weren't more tears and doubt after that night, but everything you did slowly got better, stronger, more vigorous, like a little plant sprouting and then thriving. I'm so proud of you today. You really accomplished something you yourself doubted you could do. So my prayer for you today, like your mom's, is that you will see and accept help from people around you who care about you. When you stand on your own 2 feet with your head held high, you can see where you're going and what you must face to get there. But you can't see as far or as clearly as when those around you lift you even higher, even when you wear 4-inch platform shoes. One day, I hope you also appreciate that the people who want to help you, to lift you up, believe how very special, clever, and capable you are. We want to help you because we believe that whatever you see in front of you, by conquering those obstacles between here and there, you will make the world better for you and for all of the rest of us. I love you, Zara.
Beautiful words. Zara's like, can I sit now? I'm like, yes, you can sit. You get a break. Thank you for letting us listen in as you share with your daughter. We're proud of what you've accomplished. You'll turn in your Siddur to 177. There you'll find prayer for our country. It's a point in our Torah service where we add extra tefillot, extra prayers and hopes for our country and certainly for the state of Israel and for the world in general. So I'd like to invite up Robbie and Jeffrey Markman, if you'll come forward. We have the honor of reading the prayer for the country. Here they come. Again on page 177.
Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials, who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land.
Adonai, God whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land.
May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Shkoach. Page 178, you'll find the prayer for the state of Israel. We invite up David and Lisa Abramson, if you'll come forward and guide us through the prayer for the state of Israel on the top of page 178 on the left.
Eloheinu
Shamayim,
stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Straighten the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts
with triumph.
Bless the land with peace
and its inhabitants
with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. We find the prayer, special prayer for peace. Certainly we've talked about shalom earlier in the service, as the last blessing of the Amidah is always one of shalom. We add a special prayer for shalom here, responsive reading. Doug and Beth Sims, if you'll come forward. So you have the honor of leading us in this prayer for peace. You'll find it, again, responsively on the bottom of page 178.
Thank you. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
The nation will not threaten nation, and the human family will not again know war.
For all who live on earth shall realize, we have not come into being or hate or to destroy. We have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion.
Fulfill the promise conveyed in the scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war.
Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say,
Amen. If you turn to page 181, there you'll find Ashrei in the concluding part of our Torah service. We'd like to invite back up Zara, if you'll come up forward, help us with Ashrei, and like to invite up any of our B'nai Mitzvah students. You know who you are, those who are anticipating a bar bat mitzvah in the next number of months. I won't even define what that is, just come up. And those of you who celebrated a bar bat mitzvah in the last number of months, I won't define that either, but you know who you are, so come on up. It's part of Zara's 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th grade class, 181, our IPRS students.
What about Amy? She was just like...
Come on. Any of you willing? Where? Who's Amy? She's there
Amy,
somewhere.
come on up.
You'll find 181, you'll find Ashrei, as all of you on the Bima can help us out.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha, Ode Hallelujah Selah. Tehillah leDavid, Aromim Chalohai HaMelech, Hashimcha leolam va'ed. Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, v'uratecha yagidu. V'zuz nerotecha yomeru, v'vuratecha asaprena. Chanun rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdal chesed. Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, chasidecha yevarchucha. Lehodir livnei Adam gevurotav, uchevod hadar malchuto. Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, zokef lechol hakfufim. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכוח הרצון. אדוני לכל קורא וכל אשר יקראו באמת. שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו ואת קודשיים ישמיד. ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
All of you will remain here on the beam to help us with the closing part of the Torah service. 183, we rise as we return the Torah scroll to the Aron HaKodesh, Seder Hachnasat HaTorah, 183.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו, הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לימו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. Hallelujah, hallelujah, mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Eli. Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai v'koach. Kol Adonai behadar. Kol Adonai shover arazim. Vaishaber Adonai et arzeha, vayar kidem kimo eikel levanon vesirion kemo venreemim kol Adonai. Kol Adonai Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el hayalot, vayechesof yeharot uvehechalo, kulo merkavod. Adonai lamabul, vayeshev Adonai, Adonai os le'amo yitin, Adonai yevarech et amo, uvenucho yomah.
As the Arona Kodesh is closed, you may be seated. All of you on the beam, thank you so much. Y'all can go down. We're going to have you come back up at the end for Ein Kelohenu, so don't go too far. Zara, you've been given an awful lot to us this morning, and so now it's our turn to give to you. So we call upon our president, Craig Berkowitz, to give you some gifts and some words on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Zara, Mazel Tov. Such a beautiful job, and Mazel Tov to Brett and Heather and family. Such a wonderful day, and you really shine. One of the things that I read about you is that you have a Jewish dog, and I have a Jewish dog too. Her name is Cookie, and I think that's wonderful that you're bringing the tradition to all loved ones. So, we have a few gifts for you from the synagogue to help celebrate your accomplishments. So, first off, we know you love learning, and you can learn about our Jewish traditions. So the congregation is providing you with this Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible, so you can read up on all the amazing Bible stories in our tradition. And we want to make sure that you can sing along with the fun songs that you've learned here at Inda Posner Religious School, and along with other Zimrot or songs that you will learn in USY. So USY is providing you with your own copy of Bechol Echad to help you learn and sing songs together with other Jewish teens, both in our congregation and around the world. And are we missing? Sarah, we got lost here. And this morning you chanted your Haftarah so beautifully that we want to present you with this piece, this art piece, to treasure forever. Our men's club has provided you with this magnificent Haftarah Tablet made by the Jewish artist Gary Rosenthal, so you can be reminded of your Haftarah. And our sisterhood has provided you with this beautiful Kiddush cup and candlesticks that we hope you'll use for many Shabbats to come. And finally, on behalf of the congregation, we have your Bat Mitzvah Certificate. It affirms that you became a Bat Mitzvah this morning here at Congregation Agudas Achim, and it is signed by the rabbis and myself.
Thank you.
Mazel tov.
My turn. We're all so proud of you today, but we hope that you are proud of yourself. You know, your parents were talking about the moment that it was for you when you came from that darkness, that doubt in yourself, to when you found the light. And then you found the joy. You know, sometimes, particularly a bar mitzvah, or bat mitzvah, where you're spending months and months and months working. It's the longest project you probably had ever in your life. And imagine, it's a project where you have to be in front of the entire community and sing. And you're 12 and 13 years old. Does that sound easy? No, it wasn't. But you were undaunted. Nothing stopped you from moving forward, even if it was challenging, even if it was difficult, and you've learned from the experience. And you've learned, like your parents said, that you put your mind to it and you will be able to accomplish great things. And so, to that, we all applaud you. And there's three things that we also want to share with you. We bless you with a life of love and friendship, a life where you can follow your heart, and a life where we know that you will make a great difference in this world. From all of us here, amen.
Zara, I have, of course, pleasure working in multiple ways, but one of which is doing the Devar Torah with you. And I have to tell you, it was such a pleasure because we sat and we learned together. And what I learned about you is that you have a very quiet way about you, very serious way, but yet you have a whole lot to say. And so I hope that you will do that in your life as you move forward, not be afraid to be who you are, share your thoughts and your ideas, because you are our future, and you are the one who's going to make a difference in this world, as the cantor said. Your Devar Torah, again, picked out themes that were very poignant and very important for all of us to hear, and you did that on your own. And there's no doubt in my mind that you will go forward leading our community, leading the greater, wider Jewish community, and leading our entire world to good things. So I hope you will continue to draw from that spirit and know that you can make a difference, and to use your voice to do so. In your own quiet way, you have done that for us, and you will continue to, and I know we're so proud of you today. And as we stand here, we generally recite the priestly blessing. It's the most profound blessing we can. It was the blessing of the priests of the Kohanim in the temple in the days of old, and in the tabernacle before that. It's the words we find in the Torah. It's the most profound blessing we can give you, that God blesses you throughout your life. So we recite, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and always protect you. May God's countenance, may God's light shine upon you, and may Adonai bestow all the kindnesses that life has to offer upon you. May God's light be lifted towards you. May you feel that light. May you add and increase that light as you go forward in life. May God grant you a sense of shalom always. And together we say, Amen. And I think at this special moment in your life, you've been called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. You've taught us. You've chanted the Haftarah so beautifully. You're continuing to lead us in prayer. We join in the Shehechianu, our bracha of thanksgiving together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. And a big old mazel tov. I'm so proud of you. We are going to move forward in our tefillah to the concluding part, to Musaf, and I know that Zara really wants to sit down and take a break, but we've got a little bit more to finish before she can do that. We need her help. So page 184, you'll find Chatzi Kaddish. I'll ask if the community can to please rise as we move through the brief Musaf service. Bottom of 184, again, as Cantor Ken with Zara move us through the service. 184.
Yitkadav, Yitkadash Merabah, V'yalmad divrachnutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayechon Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalav v'zman ha'kariv yimeru, Yeheshmei Rabba Mevorah, V'olam ulam me'amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yivor v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yiradar v'yitan v'yitalal shmini kudishah le'ela min goberchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechbata v'yiram v'yalma v'yimeru
Page 185, we join together at the beginning of the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Ivnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo, B'Ahava, Melech Ozer, V'Ukid Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Foked Sahara Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye metim atarav lehoshia Mashiv haruach Umorit hagashem Mechalkel hai Mechaye metim Berachamim rabim somech noflim v'rofei cholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato afar michamocha bagevurot Umido melech, melech meimid umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nehemanat halechayot meitim baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim naritzecha. Kisot Tziyah Hamatishim Shemecha b'Kodesh Kakatu Val Yad Neviyecha V'Kara Zel Ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Kevodo male male olam aye mekom kevodo Kevodo male male olam aye mekom kevodo Kevodo male male olam mishar tav shoalim Aye mekom kevodo mishar tav shoalim Aye mekom kevodo limatam baruch yomeru Mimkomo yifem berachamim veyachonam ham yachadim shemo erev avoker bechol yom tamid Pamayim b'yava Shema Omerim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshiach וישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כוחם, להיות לכם לאלוהים. ודברי קודשך כתוב לאמור. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי יאי לי לי לי. ברוך אתה אדוני האל
When you're through, you're welcome to be seated. As always, please take your time. Once again, you'll find the words for peace, for shalom, the bottom of 192 as Zara leads us.
Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru
Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. You'll find Kaddish Shalem on page 203. As we chant Kaddish Shalem, like to invite up all of our pre- and post-B'nai Mitzvah. You're up here again. Come on up. Anyone else who'd like to join for the concluding part of Ein Kohahinu as the cantor leads us at this moment in Kaddish Shalem 203.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, ילמד דברי וימליך מלכותו בחייכון וביומייכון וחייכו בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב וימרו. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפור ויתרום ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלש מידי קודשה. ויהיה לה מכל פחתה ורשתה, תוש פחתה וחמתה נירם בעלמא וימרו. תתקבל תפילות ורבות ונכו ישראל קודם אבוהון ושמיא וימרו. יהי שלמה רב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל וימרו. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו.
You can face the congregation for Ein Kohahinu, page 204.
Wait. Now.
Oh, sorry. One. Come this way.
We rise for Aleinu, page 205.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula lezeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'voyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama,
shelo samanu
bahem, begor aleinu kechol amonam, banach u'gorim, yishachamim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim ve'oseh haaretz, u'moshav yimkaro b'shamayim imav, u'shchinatu zot, b'garei Elohim, et malkeinu et tefilatu, Hakatu et Torato, Yedatayam Levashelota, Elohim, Yadonai, Elohim, Basha Amayim.
You are welcome to be seated. Those of you on the bima, you can go on down. Yes, sir, you get to sit for a minute. Woohoo! They're beautiful shoes, but standing in them probably gets a little tiring. We're all admiring the shoes. Everybody. Seriously, we're all like, we all want them. Bernard even said he wants a pair. So, as we turn to page 207, there you'll find Mourner's Kaddish for today. And as we prepare to recite Mourner's Kaddish, we extend our condolences to the extended Cohen family on the death of David Cohen, who is son of Sylvia and brother to Jeff Cohen, who we know is a lot to do with the bar and bat mitzvah, so we miss him that he's not here today. I know he's finishing up Shiva up in New Jersey, and we extend our hugs of support to him in particular, especially on this day, as we know he's instrumental to the learning of our students. He's been a 6th grade teacher and 7th grade, but 6th grade teacher in particular for these teenagers now, and we are appreciative of him, and we give him our hugs of support. We also mentioned the names of those whose shloshim, as we move through the shloshim period for David present, we continue to hug his family, and we continue to remember Anita Reich, sister of Esther Burnett and aunt of Jody Fries and of Darren Burnett as well, so we give them our hugs of support as they continue through the shloshim, the 30-day mourning period. We also mentioned the names of those whose yortzites occur today and in the week that will be following: Stephen Cole, Peter Gresser, Celia Kalish, Doris Linver, Raquel Newman, Nathan Posner, Philip Heinz, Sterling Samuel Newman, Sam Wilk, Ben Cohen, Bessie Eisenberg, Sally Friedman, Jack Moss, Jacob Hirschman, Joan Stanley, Emmerich Adler, Hilmer Heibaum, Sidney Ozer, Charles Leroy Wood, Arthur Jaffe, Adrian Diamond Martin, Bella Melnick, Kimberly Ann Ratcliffe, and Sophie Shapiro. If there are any names I did not recite aloud that you have in your hearts, certainly feel free to keep them in your hearts as we recite Mourner's Kaddish together, page 207. Those reciting Mourner's Kaddish, if you'll rise and join with me. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olomei Omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May be seated. We have a few announcements for us. We call upon Craig Berkowitz, again, President of the Board of Trustees, for some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Again. Okay, please join us for morning minions weekdays at 7:30 a.m., Sundays at 9 a.m. Now, Minyan for Thanksgiving Day and Friday, November 24th will begin at 9 a.m. Thank you to the Ginsburg family for sponsoring the Kiddush Luncheon in honor of Zara becoming a bat mitzvah. Some upcoming events. Time for Joy and Thanksgiving, Wednesday, November 24th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. Explore sacred music that can heal and comfort us to help us find more joy and blessing and gratitude in our lives. Please RSVP to Jessica in the office. There'll be a menorah lighting at SeaWorld with PJ Library, Sunday, November 28th at 5:30 in the Bay of Play. Discounted tickets are limited. Please purchase your latke mix today, or not today, tomorrow, or during the week. Bags are available for pickup in the office. Contact Jessica to place your order. Our Hanukkah celebration will be Wednesday, December 1st at 5:30 p.m. in the Cavi Family Pavilion. Join your Agudas family for the fourth night of Hanukkah, with the evening filled with crafts, lighting the menorah, holiday trivia, and so much more. Please bring an unwrapped gift to donate to your 8th grade Chesed booth. Please RSVP again to Jessica Halfant in the office. Moonlight Social Club will be sponsoring latkes and libations Thursday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. in the Gorinsky Family Social Hall. So please join Moonlight Social Club for the 5th night of Hanukkah for delicious latkes and beverages with music from the 60s and 70s. And please, $18 a person, and please RSVP to Jessica. And there will be a Hanukkah Song Fest and Dance-a-thon in the Gorinsky Family Social Hall, Saturday, December 4th at 6:30 p.m. Sing your favorite Hanukkah songs and bring your dancing shoes as we celebrate the Festival of Lights, and bring your menorah to light. And lastly, Chavano Park menorah lighting will be Sunday, December 5th at 6 p.m. at Chavano Park City Hall. Please join Rabbi Cohen in the lighting of the menorah for the community. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Do some other thank yous. Thank you to Craig for doing the announcements, of course, for us, and to Phil, who is our amazing usher, who has made sure everything's coordinated and works really well, along with Sherry in the back, who's been guiding people in. I know Cameron was standing up there for a while, too, helping out, so thank to all three of you. Mark Schnall, thanks as always for being one of our Gabayim here, making sure things flow on the Bima during the Torah service as they need to, along with Bernard. We appreciate his help as a Gabay as well. And I want to also thank all of those. Just give a shout out if you see any of our maintenance people. Always make sure that this sanctuary looks nice, that things are set up the way they need to be, that the social hall's looking good. Give them a shout out, and we say thank you to them. Jessica, thanks as always. I know you had an honor today, but you were in large part doing our flyer every week, our handout, and making sure the gifts and everything were in place. So we thank you for that as your efforts during the week as well, for all that you do in our office. And we thank Leah as well, who's in there, and Anthony, Olivia, and we thank Rabbi Ricky Arad, our executive director. So we have lots going on. Thank you, Cantor, for guiding us through the service, along with Zara, who is getting ready to finish up here. And I told her she gets to have some lunch. And then I know you have a trip planned, so we're very excited for you. And going to see you out on the slopes, it sounds like. So that's very exciting. We're very thrilled for you. It works out to have Thanksgiving break. Very smart. I like that. As you all be able to celebrate this occasion together as a family, and we're so thrilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish Adon Olam on page 211, and then we will rise and do our Kiddush and Motzi here in the sanctuary, and we'll ask the family, Brett and if you guys will come up, Heather, you'll come up, and along with Zane can come up, certainly, and do Kiddush for us before we go to lunch. That will help out, and I'll give you the cue when that's about to happen. So page 211, Zara, if you'll come on up. As we turn to Adon Olam, we conclude this festive service together.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'etz Na'asav V'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levato Yimloch Nora Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yihye betifa, vehu echad v'yein sheni, lehamshielo lehachbira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo haos, v'hamisra, Hu Eli v'chai goali v'tzor chevli be'etzara v'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi be'yom ekra be'yad afkiruchi be'et ishan ve'ahira Ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira.
Shabbat Shalom. We turn back to page 77. There you'll find Kiddush for this festive Shabbat. We invite up Heather and Brett and Zane, if you'll come forward to stand with Zara as we all join together in the singing of Vishamru, page 77.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Veshomeru et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit. Al kein birach Adonai et yom ha-Shabbat v'yikadshehu. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
For her, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. We all kind of match with your...
Let me go wash this up real quick.
Okay.
Get it.
Okay.
Go enjoy with your friends, get some lunch, serve it. We're together.
Who was the master? You are the master.
Thank you. How do you feel?
She don't believe more what?
Say thank you, they more appropriate.
Time to party. Here you go. Have fun.
Thank you.
Hey, look who's there. Who's the master? So what's cooking? Did you see Dad around somewhere? Hey, Papa. Ready for a little kiddush? Ready for a little kiddush? Hey, save me a seat. We'll sit together. Oh, yay, yay, yay. Try it again.
Where is that? Thank you so much.
She did great.
We can go home and watch.
Ah, there it is. You like challah? I don't believe it. That's amazing. I was saying you had a beautiful Shabbos and huh? That's good. Someday they're going to call you up. They're going to say, I had a good Shabbos, Daddy. Chance to speak to Jeff. Jeff Cohen.
In person? No, just texted. A lot.
Is he all right?
Yeah, I mean, he was.
You didn't ask for
Same.
anything from our end?
Not right now.
When's he coming back?
I don't know. You didn't say. I know he's staying through Shabbat, as far as I understood. Melanie might know more.
Say it again?
Melanie might